This week, we're going to be working with the DOM, the Document Object Model. So you are going to read through Chapter 5 in your book and then go through the Chapter 5 Key Concept Lecture. And the overview just kind of shows you how the DOM fits into the browser object model. So it's kind of a subset of that. And then we kind of get into how the document object model is organized. And so you can pretty much read through this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We get into how to find and manipulate HTML elements. Some of this you already know because we have been using get element by ID. But there are other ways that you can manipulate elements. We can use the tag names, the class names, CSS selectors, and we can also use object collections. And each of these sections I do have videos on. So there is a video on the first four because those are all somewhat similar. And then there is a separate video on the object collection. And I did that one separately because the object collection is automatically created, whereas the other ones, you actually have to execute commands for the list to be created. But with the HTML objects, it's automatically done. So we kind of go through a little review on get element by ID. And I do have, fun little interactive treats for you built into here. And then you'll notice that I have a lot of live examples as well. So here we've got example of tag name. And so you can kind of see it's targeting the input tag. And there's several of them here. Then if you want to see what that does, it says click the button to see how many elements have the input tag. And the answer is 4. And that is because this button was created using the input tag as well. Okay, and that's the code that was used in that example. And you can see there's lots and lots of examples. And then you can view the code separately if you would like to. So as you go through here, you'll look at the examples, kind of look over the code. And then we get down to finding elements by HTML object collection. These are all of the collections that are automatically created behind the scenes, and you can access them. A node list is created when we use the get element by ID, get element by tag name, get element by class. Those create node lists and they're created through code. HTML collections automatically created. Okay, so this just kind of highlights how they are different. And then I have lots of examples on the HTML collections and some sample code. The video that I referred to earlier goes through the code and explains what it's doing. So make sure you watch that. And then we get into DOM navigation using nodes, which are basically our HTML elements. So how can we use those elements to navigate through the DOM? And we have parent nodes and child nodes, first child, last child. It's all to do with the hierarchy of your HTML. Okay, so, just looking at this example, H1 is a child of body, so is the paragraph tags. And as I said, it's all hierarchical. So you can kind of read through this. Part of the reason that we indent in HTML is so that you can see the hierarchy a little easier. Now through the DOM, you can change the content in your page. You can do that through JavaScript code. You can actually add paragraphs or portions of a page. You can delete portions of a page, and you can change portions of a page. And so I have examples that walk through how to do all of that. And then you'll notice that I go through and I kind of explain exactly what's going on in the code. Plus, I've got comments in the code. So if there is anything that you don't understand, please ask. But I try to make it pretty much self-documenting, so you'd be able to figure out what all of the little code segments are doing. You can use different commands to change attributes and set attributes. And so we've talked about the elements and the tags, but if you remember, the attributes are those extra things that are inside the tags. For example, in the image tag, source is an attribute. In an anchor, target is an attribute. Okay, so there are methods that let you create or change those attributes. And so that is what this section is talking about, retrieving them and changing them. And then finally, we get down to this last little section. And there's actually 3 different ways to retrieve and update text. And you're very familiar with inner HTML, but there are 2 other techniques, text content and inner text. And so this kind of explains the differences between them. And then this little interactive example is super helpful because here is my list. And you'll notice that number 2 is hidden. Okay, and so you can see down here in the HTML, it's hidden because the visibility is set to hidden. Okay, but if I retrieve this list and I use, let's say, inner HTML, well, that pulls the HTML with the list. And so the hidden element is going to stay hidden. Inner text ignores hidden elements. Okay, and it does not pull in the HTML, so it just kind of gives you a little list. Okay, it does not keep the bullets. Text content is the only one that will pull everything from the list, including hidden elements. Okay, it includes everything. Okay, so this little interactive example kind of illustrates the difference between these 3 techniques of retrieving text. Now, once you get through with the key concepts, you're going to move on to your programming assignment. And so in this programming assignment, there are 3 different programs that you're going to be working with. The first one, you are going to be animating a sequence of graphics. And the graphics that you need to animate are in this unicycle zipped folder. So you're going to have to download that and decompress it. And what you're going to end up with is something that's very similar to this. You'll have like a little unicycle here. And so you'll have it turn to the right and to the left, kind of like this. And then you'll also have it so it stops. Okay, and the code is going to be very similar to what you have here. Now, before you write the code, it's really important that you watch the video that explains what the code is doing because you really need to understand what this code is doing so that you can apply it to this unicycle example. Okay, so make sure you watch the video, and then I don't think you'll have any problems creating the unicycle. The second exercise, you are going to create your own web page that has 4 thumbnail images. And then you'll also need 4 of those same images that are larger because the thumbnails will link to your larger images. And then you're going to use the DOM collection to generate the rest of the page. So let me show you an example. So in the page itself, in the HTML, the only thing that is in the page are these 4 images with links to the larger pictures. Okay, then you'll notice I have headings that are in the HTML, and that's it. So the names, the source, and the links are all generated using the DOM collections. And so that is what you guys are going to be doing. An example similar to this is in the lecture demo, and it was explained in the lecture demo. I did also include the explanation right here. So make sure you watch that so you understand what the code is doing. Okay, and then you will be able to apply it to your own page. Then the last example, what you need to do is come up with a page where you allow the user to add, delete, or update a portion of your page. And it's easiest if you do this with buttons. Okay, and then you also need to allow the user to change 2 of the styles on the page. Now you're going to have one page where they can do all of this. And the examples that I've got here are separate pages where all of these tasks are done. You're just going to incorporate that into a single page. So let me show you. So this first one is changing styles. So you'll notice I did all the paragraphs and then I just did the first one. So that's an example, if you look at the code, of connecting some buttons to some functions that are basically changing colors. Those functions are down here. So you're going to do something similar. Then I have a couple different ones that add to a page. So if I reload this, enter text you want displayed, I'll just enter some junk here, and you can see it was added. So you need to do something similar. Okay, and here it's added above a paragraph. Here's the same thing, and it's just added to the bottom. Okay, so 2 examples. You only have to let them add, and it doesn't really matter where. You could put it at the top, middle, or bottom. Then you also have to delete from a section on your page. So here I have initially 3 paragraphs. I can pick which one I want to delete. Okay, and then once it comes back, it'll just show the remaining 2. And then for this one, I have a button that'll change the quote. Okay, so what you're going to do is something similar, but you are incorporating it into a single page. And all of these examples, you can look at the code used in the example, and you can also go back to that lecture demo. Okay, so those are the 3 programs that you're going to be working on. If you run into problems or if you have any questions, please let me know. Make sure you have transferred those pages to the web if they are not working properly, because I will need to look at them. And I need to actually look at the error message that is in the developer panel. Have a great week. And I hope you guys have fun with the assignment. Try to pick images and different things that are fun for you. And again, if you have any problems, let me know. I did include a couple of additional references for you on the DOM. And then, of course, the publisher's PowerPoint.